Volvo Tour is brought to you by Volvo.
Hello, welcome to the Chemapol Trophy Czech Open from Mariánský Lázně. This is one of the richest tournaments on the Volvo Tour with a prize fund of £750,000. And of course, 6,753 yards, par 71, one of the oldest on the continent. Town of Mariánbad on the western side of the Czech Republic, close to the German border, and 80 miles from the capital, Prague. The town itself is one of the most picturesque stops on the Volvo Tour, fairy tale location, which has attracted famous composers, writers and painters throughout history. The golf course too plays parts of the area's past, opened in 1905, indeed 90 years ago this coming Monday by King Edward VII of England. After years of neglect during the years of the Iron Curtain, it's now restored to former glories. The first Chemapol Czech Open last year was staged in hindsight, perhaps too late in the year and decimated by frost, fog and rain. But this year, 2 months later, in tip-top condition, the penultimate points counting event for the Johnny Walker Ryder Cup table. But here's one American who's more concerned with survival. 16 missed cuts this year for Peter Teravainen, but a 66 to go with his first round 67 meant that the American shared the second round lead with Ronan Rafferty, 65, and a 68 for the Irishman, who played so well last week in Austria. And you can see the two Englishmen, Howard Clark and Barry Lane, and both with a chance of clinching a place in that Ryder Cup side. So plenty to play for, conditions ideal. And as we start to pick up the action, Ronan Rafferty has a one-shot lead from Peter Teravainen, who's hanging on to his shirt tails well. Darren Clark already in the clubhouse with a 65, and the big Irishman has a chance of moving up that Johnny Walker Ryder Cup points table. And also Jose Rivera has a chance of making the team, and he's taking his claim well with a round of 66. Barry Lane, level par so far today. Good round for Raymond Burns of Ireland in the clubhouse with a 65. And Richard Boxall finding a little bit of form in recent weeks, also going well with a 67. But here's Ronan Rafferty at the 13th hole, par 3, 235 yards long, so a long iron. You can see plenty of bounce in the fairways. Czech Republic, like most of northern and central Europe, in a heat wave at the moment. Not much rain about, and that running onto the green. Barry Lane at the 14th. Slipping back after a bogey at 11 and a double bogey at 12, having gone out in 32. Par for the first 9 is 34, for the homeward half is 37. And this 14th hole, 364 yards. And there's several par forwards, just a drive and a flick, and plenty of birdie opportunities coming home. This man, Howard Clark, is starting to make the most of that. He was out in 36, 3 bogeys in a row from the 4th, but he had an eagle at 11, and then birdied 12. A par at 13, so at the moment 9 under, 1 under for the day. Already 5 Ryder Cups for Howard Clark, and he feels there's at least 1, perhaps 2 more left in him. And if he were to win this week, well, he'd be in the team. He's 18th in the table at the moment, and 125,000 for first prize.
Just a little bit. Go on.
And with play like that, it's entirely possible. Now Ronan Rafferty looking for a birdie. Started really well with birdies at the first 2 holes, and indeed got out in 30 with birdies also at 6 and 7. Dropped his first shot of the day at the 11th, the hole that Clark eagled. 3-shot swing there. But Rafferty still 12 under, still just keeping in control. Excellent performance last week, share of second place at the Hoerbucker. And here's Sam Torrance back from a solid performance at Riviera in the US PGA. And his Ryder Cup place assured. He's one of the top 5 that can't be caught now. And a 69, a useful performance, 7 under, and may figure in the shake-up tomorrow. Now Teravainen, bogey at the second, but birdies at 5 and 6, and at 11. 39-year-old from Singapore these days, and that one just in the tradesman's entrance. And he stays just one behind the leader, Ronan Rafferty. Howard Clark last played in the Ryder Cup 6 years ago and lost 8 and 7 to Tom Kite. Won't thank me for reminding you of that, but he wants to set the record straight. And he's certainly one of the Swedish strikers of a ball on the Volvo Tour. The last one in 1988, but 3 second places last year and a playoff defeat against Sam Torrance in the Murphy's Irish Open already this year. And if the putter starts to work, he has a real chance. There he is, just 2 behind now, starting to get some momentum going. He'll need to conquer his nerves. At 17th, Santiago Luna. Second shot pushed just over that water, which can catch anything straying to the right. But it's reachable into this hole, definite birdie possibility, and that was almost an eagle for Luna. Well, that will help. May have been fairly close anyway. Clark at the 15th. Turn that to the left, but there is a little bit of space down there. Of course, tree lined and a mixture of parkland as well. Rather reminiscent of somewhere like Brockenhurst Manor in the New Forest in England. Now, Jean-Louis Geppy, who's been going well, the Frenchman. Needs a par for a round of 68. Par 71, remember. Geppy gone out in 31, picked up 3 shots to the turn. Now, as Barry Lane with this, it's not described in the press as a ladies' driver. Well, it's certainly a ladies' head, a much smaller head than the conventional flavour of the month at the moment. The big-headed drivers, it's a smaller head, but it's not a ladies' shaft in there. I can assure that's a Tournament Pros shaft. It'd be much too flexible otherwise. Just in recent weeks, signs that really getting his game together. Just the odd loose shot costing him. He wasn't far off driving that hole. Now the easily identified ball. And the greens in superb condition this week. Last year we had the first 3 rounds, 15 holes each because of the rain and the fog and the frost and the shotgun start on the Sunday, and it was all rather unsatisfactory unless your name was Per Ulrik Johansson, who won the tournament. Cut this year came at 1 under, and Johansson on his way home. This is Nick Fash. You get rid of 1 or 2 Swedes, but there's so many good Swedish players on the tour. There's always likely every week to be 1 or 2 in contention. And Fash playing with Peter Hedblom. Going along nicely, and 143rd in the order of merit. And that's Jean-Louis Geppy finishing with a 69. Sad finish, dropping a shot. At one stage was 10 under. Terravena just getting the check a little bit late. Mark Davis of England was defending champion in Austria last week and missed the cut. A rather disappointing finish, 71 level par. Really should have finished with a birdie. 6 under though. With a cack-handed putting style, and he's just getting a little bit tentative now. Only part of the round was very positive with his putting, getting everything up to the hole and consequently making 4 birdies in the first 7 holes. You see Lane 13th in the Ryder Cup points table, so again even second place may be good enough, but certainly first place will get him into the side. Nice touch.
Okay.
Played all 4 rounds in the USPGA as well. A couple of 68s in there. Lost in the last Ryder Cup to Chip Beck. He says it's the worst and the best week of his life. Wants to set the record straight. Well, Teravainen's been suffering this year with a shin complaint. And his wife from Singapore bringing over some medicated bandages. That's helping. You won't find him in the top 150 of the Volvo Order of Merit. This is a big week for Peter Teravainen. He will need probably a top 5 finish to ensure that he keeps his card. Clark, good run he's picked up in the last 4 holes. 4 shots, eagle, birdie, par, birdie. A little bit unlucky there to just run through. Didn't get the grip. Last went back in '88 at Royal Birkdale, the inaugural English Open. Of course, lost that playoff in the Irish Open to Sam Torrance, second extra hole when Clark bravely made a birdie, only to see Sam Torrance hold a putt for eagle. Did some quite good scores in. 67 for Phil Golding. 65, of course, for Raymond Burns. 67 for Richard Boxall. 69s for Lee Westwood, Ross Drummond and Gary Emerson. 67 for Jochen Hegman. 69s for Paul Eales and Paul Maloney. And 68 for Sven Struve. Up a shot at the third and then, say, 3 bogeys in a row. Just a little bit fidgety at the moment. Go on, has got a chance. Oh, he's on a run now. So that is 5 shots in 5 holes for Howard Clark. And he goes to 11 under, just 1 shot behind the leader, Ronan Rafferty. After that shaky front 9, Howard Clark is back and well in contention. Trouble off the tee for Santiago Luna at 18. All of 431 yards. And he'll need that to save his par for a round of 67. Now Lane, perhaps inspired by his playing partner Howard Clark, also makes a birdie at 15 and goes to 9 under, 3 off the pace. Now here's our first look at one of the Swedes, Peter Hedblom. Way down at 94th in the Volvo Order of Merit. After a super season last year, finished 36, had 6 top 10 finishes. Teravainen. You see him just about driving that hole. Deceptively long. It doesn't look to be much of him, but got a very fast leg and hand action. And sometimes when you're playing with him, you see him pull an 8-iron, and you think it's an 8-iron for yourself, and he's actually got those hands whipped in, and you're 2 clubs short. Luna, first time winner on the Volvo Tour at Santa de Serra, the Madeiran Open. Since then slipped down to 54th in the Order of Merit. I should think his target will be to get into that top 50 and make the season-ending Volvo Masters at Valderrama. the roll, but he was up very quickly. I don't think he expected to get it that close. Ronan Rafferty has been working very hard at his fitness and at his game lately, and really is starting to find his best form. And his best form is very good indeed. Won the Order of Merit in 1989, played the Ryder Cup, and you know, if he wins it this week, it could be a late surge up the rankings and into Bernard Gallagher's side. Ronan Rafferty leads by 1 from Howard Clark and Peter Teravainen, and Darren Clark setting the pace in the clubhouse after a round of 65. Some pretty good scoring at Marianski Lesny. We'll have more for you on Eurosport after the break. Continuing the third round action, Marianski Lesny, the Chemapol Trophy Czech Open. This is Howard Clark, who's sharing second place, shot behind the leader Ronan Rafferty with his second to 16, 385 yards. So not over long this course, 6,753 yards, par 71, and the homeward half par 37. And Howard Clark is compiling a back nine that could just be a little bit special. He's already 5 under. Just a short iron, and he doesn't like it, so I never got into that and pushed it right, didn't get through it. He left himself an awkward chip. You see the pin cut right hand side, going to be very difficult to get close. Going to have to gamble. So Howard Clark also has a chance of making the English Alfred Dunhill Cup side. He's a winner in 87. St Andrews. Lane. Recent Anderson Consulting World Championship of Golf at the Oxfordshire took out Bernhard Langer and Severiano Ballesteros in the one day to earn a New Year's Eve date in Phoenix and perhaps a $1 million check to start the new year or to see out the old. This is Teravainen in the rough, allowed to grow, and this is a horrid lie. Oh, he's got a fly. Hand comes up too late. And through it goes and into sand. Not much he could do to really control that ball. And it will be a pity if he starts to leak shots now, because he's withstood the pressure pretty well. He's not been on that many leaderboards and would be easy for him just to fade away. Rafferty with that 30-40 yard bunker shot, which the professionals make look so easy. Splendid shot from Rafferty. And with Eamon Darcy and Paul McGinley missing the cut, he just needs a top 30 finish to take his place in the Irish Alfred Dunhill Cup side. Now Teravainen, third shot. Just a flattish shot. It's running well. All sorts of ways to make a birdie. And what a superb display of bunker play from these two. Teravainen dabbles in stocks and shares, as you might expect a graduate from Yale. But his best performance this year on the golf course, to share a 34th in the Deutsche Bank, really been a diminishing return. But you see how he's just slid across the ball and just set it on its way slightly downhill. And that was always only ever going one place in the hole.
14 years.
Now Rafferty for his birdie. He makes St Alfred Dunhill side. I think it'll be good news for the Irish. He missed last year, but he played all 8 seasons before that, and twice he's been a winner in an Irish trio at St Andrews. So Rafferty one ahead. Could have been more, but Teravainen, an orthodox birdie, but exciting just the same. Howard Clark in third place. There he is, his third shot at the 16th. Remember, just a shortish iron in, and he pushed it away to the right. And this is pretty well impossible because he's got no green at all to work with. Picking those who missed the cup: Peter Baker, Paul Broadhurst, and Johansson. All with Ryder Cup aspirations. Oh. Did I say impossible? Miracles take a little longer. And he might have been upset and gone in for a 3, but I think he knows that after the second shot, he'll take a 4, walk on to the next tee. Teravainen, it's deceptive. He was the longest driver on tour back in '91. Hand action and leg action really generates a lot of club head speed. Quite a tight driving hole through the trees and then sloping from left to right. And let's take a look at Howard Clark's shot again. Open the stance, cut the ball up, no green to work with, but he's landed it in the perfect spot as gently as he could. And even if it hadn't hit the pin, that would have been no more than 3 or 4 feet past. Rafferty back on the tee. He's trying to draw it up the left-hand side, but ooh, he's overdone that. Bunkers away down the right, but that's a long way left. There is space, and he's getting the white flag. He's the green light. He's into sand, and that may not be so bad. Quite a flattish bunker. Barry Lane with the latest putt of the circuit. Oh, how did that stay out? Well, the line was perfect, and just a fraction hard maybe. Tough to take. Five wins on tour, and if he could make it number 6 this week.
Come back on the left, please.
Running very much his own man. An awkward character at times, but other times charming, and he's an interesting character as well. He's works hard at his game and has interests outside of golf. Vintage wine collection. Kick in. Not bad from the bunker. Pulled a little bit. It's good to see him enjoying his golf again. The hard work is starting to pay off. Hedblom, 25-year-old. That's an excellent shot as well. Hitting the pin, that would have pitched and bit anyway, so it would have been close whatever, and very nearly in. Almost an eagle 3. This 17th is reachable in 2. It's quite a cunning pin placing though. The players won't mind being in the bunker, certainly if they get a result like that. Looking at least for his first top 10 finish of the year. Good memories for Nicholas Fash of this tournament. Last year he was Challenge Tour graduate, first year on the Volvo Tour. He got the last place in this tournament, time running out, on the borderline for keeping his card. Finished tied 52nd, and that gave him just enough money to finish 123rd in the order of merit. He just kept his card. Career best performance, a share of 7th in last year's BMW. That may have been this year's BMW, whatever. He's got a chance of bettering it this week. Open with 66 and then a 69. You can see the green's very true, not much bumping and bobbling. He just was a fraction shy on that one. You may find that though Ash is further away, in order not to stand on his line, Hedblom will putt first. He's closer than Rafferty by some distance. Mentioned that he's had problems with his shins this year. Well, 94 he had a medical exemption because of knee surgery, and he used that pretty well to get to 81st in the money list with a couple of top 10 finishes, but no exemption this year. Rafferty just got to pick his spot, and those the greens are true. Just caught the fringe. I think that's going to be short. Needed to pitch it on the actual cut surface itself and didn't quite. Played in the Ryder Cup in 1989. A little bit nervous the first day on the first tee, but at the end of the 3 days, grown in stature and took out Mark Calcavecchia, the reigning Open champion at that time, to help Europe retain the cup. Well, the pack starting to close. To the 17th in reach, just an iron for Howard Clark. Now, over the bunker as well, just a little long, but that's okay. It's not a bad shot as well. Drawing it in, and 521 yards. Plenty of bounce on the fairways. They're hard and fast running. Now, Clark, you could have got 40 to 1, 50 to 1, depending on your bookmakers at the start of the week. Pretty good value. And, you'd have had to go a long way down the list, though, to find Peter Teravainen. He's got a long handle putter. Safe par. I'll tell you, he'll be pretty pleased the way that his game's standing up. I mean, it's so easy just to fade out of the picture. And I think Barry Lane's one of the best long iron players on the tour. Good worker of a ball, but he's just turned out a little bit too much, and that's got a hard kick through. Rafferty to save his par at 16. No, that's his second bogey of this back nine. He's back to 12 under, provided that Peter Teravainen pops his in. We've got a tie for the lead. th hole, 431 yards. Runs parallel to the first. Trees separating the two fairways, and you just see we're talking about fast running fairways, and it's almost like a links in summer, really bounding on. This course used to be a favourite haunt of the late Henry Cotton. Used to enjoy playing here and set a course record. That course record for the Volvo Tour purposes, and £3,000 from Johnny Walker, set on Thursday by Ronan Rafferty at 65, and then lowered by 1 by the Welshman Mark Litton on Friday. No course record set last year because the first 3 rounds we only played 15 holes, and it was preferred lies in the shotgun start for round 4. And with this, the penultimate counting event for this year's Ryder Cup. If you haven't heard, the Americans, Danny Watkins naming Curtis Strange and Fred Couples as his 2 wildcard picks. That's how he became the longest driver in 1991. Fair to say, wasn't always the straightest, but it may look unorthodox, but when it works very well. And Teravainen lashing that one up and brings the 17th green within comfortable reach. See the more orthodox swing from Ronan Rafferty. Quite a short backswing, you'll see.
No cameras, please.
As a boy prodigy, youngest Walker Cup player, and a glittering amateur career. Nice tempo over. There's a book, as I understand, by Donald Steele. First all the great golf courses around Great Britain and Ireland, and I think Ronan's ambition is to play them all by early next year, playing 2 and 3 in a day sometimes with the help of a helicopter. Now here's Howard Clark, second eagle of the back nine, and he's 7 under from the turn. And he's into the lead. An eagle, second eagle, 13 under, and he leads by 1. And the cheer being heard, and probably the shot seen by Ronan Rafferty, back making his way off the 17th tee. But there's Howard Clark, looking for his first win in 7 years, and he'll be 41 on August the 26th next week. What an early birthday present that would be. Now Barry Lane has chipped up. Remember, he was long and left with his second. Quite a good chip, and this for a birdie to stay 3 shots, or to keep within 3 shots of Howard Clark. Well done. Well done. So that's second birdie in 3 holes for Barry Lane. He's starting to fight back. A little bit ragged today. Hasn't quite found the consistency he would hope for. But here's that chip of Howard Clark again. I guess fair to say that he would he might not expect to hold it, but he'd know he'd have a chance of holding it. Picks his spot. The run is true, and in it goes, and we have a new leader of the Czech Open. Join us again after the break. Howard Clark is chasing his first win in 7 years. He's 7 under for the back nine, just made his second eagle in a row. And he leads by 1. The pack chasing, though, Nicholas Fash, well up there. Certainly his best performance of the year. And we really are seeing some spectacular shots this afternoon. Fash is going to finish with a birdie, that's for sure. 68 for Santiago Luna. Alexander Chaker in with a 73, rather disappointing. Chaker awarded honorary membership to Mariansky Lasny at the start of this week. His father, once again, a member here. Now can Hedblom get inside his playing partner? Well, he can't, but it's still a fine effort. Domingo Hospital and Roger Chapman playing together in front of these two. They're both in with 71s to remain at 7 under. Now, Teravainen with his second to 17. Hands pretty low, but a lot of speed, clubhead speed generated through the ball. He's pushed it to the right, has he? No, he's pulled it to the left. Started right, and then drawing and away. It's in a way understandable, because you can just see on the left of your picture that water, if you push it to the right, you run the risk of just, if you haven't caught it cleanly, going in there. Rafferty, this was recorded before Teravainen, quite a way back. Steeper pickup. Trying to get the draw that Teravainen was to get, and not quite. And might have been better off in the sound, depends how that lies. Fash, understandably looking pretty pleased. His day's work all but over. Just nice to finish with a wee tap in. In fact, he's already done that, and that's a good round from the 23-year-old from Gothenburg. No bogeys at all. He just won 5 on the card, and 66, 12 under. Big day for him coming up tomorrow. I suppose there's a chance that he could be playing once again with Hedblom. I shouldn't think he'd object to that. The Swedes quite happy to play together. They stick together on the tour. Hedblom has this for a 67. Only 33, and just the 2 birdies so far coming home. No bogeys. Greens are very true, but in truth, he never really hit that with much conviction. So if you'd offered him 11 under at the start of the day in the 68, I think he'd probably have said, yes, I'll take that. shortly after he'd opened with a bogey at the second. And away to the clubhouse, which has been greatly renovated.
She'd probably be better off by the microphone.
You see how runner after he's holding chips and putts, and now directing the TV operation when he's been known to put in the odd spell in the commentary box. And, certainly seems very relaxed about the situation. Again, not much green to work with for Teravainen. And he's just a little bit too shy on that one. Not dissimilar to Barry Lane though, and it's a reasonably straight putt. Nick Fash, the leader in the clubhouse now. Ronan Rafferty, one of three players sharing second place behind Howard Clark. Just as Clark chipped in, so Rafferty has a chance to leapfrog back into the lead, although this is a much harder chip. Plenty of green to work with, but it's not lying that well. Took it pretty clean. Well played. Well played. It's a beautiful touch, beautiful roll. And again, we have a tie at the top. You'd expect, these players would expect to make birdie at this hole. That's exactly what Rafferty's done. Four under for the day. Joint leader. Mentioned at the start of our coverage, this is one of the richest tournaments on the Volvo Tour. Indeed, only the Volvo PGA and Volvo Masters have bigger prize funds. £750,000 and £125,000 for first place, and indeed third place carries about £5,000 more than first place last week. So if you're going to have a miserable year like Peter Teravainen and have one good week, this I would suggest is one of the weeks that you want it to happen on. A little bit more. And that was a chance to make it a three-way tie at the top. You have to settle for being one behind going to the last. Howard Clark a little bit right off the tee, but he's okay. Just the question of how it's lying and will he get a flyer. I don't think he can probably pitch it on the green. Maybe he's got to try and hit this in low and run it up. And he's punched at almost a seaside shot. You see it landing sort of 40, 50 yards short. And here it comes, and could have done with a touch more, but that's a pretty good effort. He just couldn't go straight at the pin. He'd have been straight through the back. Problems over Barry Lane. He's gone over the trees, and to the right of your picture, that's the first fairway. He's got to thread it through the trees and just try and knock it back into the play. There's a gap, and he's found it. But he's still some way from the putting surface in two.
All to do with skill, I reckon, isn't it? All to do with skill, I would say. So,
Howard Clark then safely on the final green, tied with Ronan Rafferty, who's back on the tee. Nick Fash could be a career best performance from the Swede. He's safely in the clubhouse, sharing third place with Peter Teravainen, and a good day also for Peter Hedblom. Darren Clark's not out of the Ryder Cup picture by any means. and a 65 boosting the Irishman's chances. We'll be back with the concluding action of round 3 from Marianski Lasny after the break. See you then. Final match, final tee. Peter Teravainen in a share of 3rd place, 1 shot behind joint leaders Howard Clark and Ronan Rafferty.
Special.
Gone across to the right-hand side of the teeing area to avoid the trees on the right. And although he doesn't keep it on the fairway, that's okay. Well, back 9 a par of 37 and all manner of spectacular scoring possible. It does all go well for an exciting final round tomorrow. I hope you'll be able to join us with Barry Lane's 3rd shot, having strayed onto the 1st fairway over the trees from the tee. Oh, a little bit, he tried to bite, didn't he, but he's coming out of the semi. Just waiting for a little bit of a quiet for Howard Clark. This is for a round of 65, and that really didn't look possible when he was 2 over at the turn for today's round. But if he makes this putt, he'll be 8 under par for the back 9 and home in 29. Candy grip is a difficult putting grip as well, isn't it? The actual grip itself is a little bit fatter than normal, and that was just a little bit shy. I mean, annoyed with himself for not giving it a chance. There's no great horrors behind the pin. Could have given that one a run. Rafferty back on the final tee. A friendly bounce. I hope you can join me tomorrow. We've got an hour's coverage. Should be pretty exciting stuff, and it's on 6 o'clock Central European time, 5 o'clock in the UK and Ireland. Many of you would have had your round by then. My club Reading, it's the Captain Ron Hooper's charity day. Hope you raise lots of money. Fair to say the sun will be shining. This is for a 69. Now started. Oh, it didn't turn. It was over a little ridge, really. It was difficult to keep the line. And he's going to have to settle for a 70. I think he'll be looking for a 65, 66 tomorrow. You can see that. Bogey at the 3rd, and then to the turn in 32, good recovery, then dropping shots at 11 and 12 just to set him back, and then finally another bogey at 80. Now Clark for a 66. Well played. Good day's work for the Yorkshireman, and he'll be particularly proud of that back 9. Look at that, 2 eagles and 3 birdies, nay a bogey, and that after 3 bogeys in a row. So if he can think positive, conquer the nerves, must have a chance in the final round. Had to go well, we paired with Ronan Rafferty. Those two were paired in the 1990 Alfred Dunhill Cup, and Rafferty, if memory serves me correctly, went out with Howard Clark in a playoff. Maybe given that a bit more, it might have been David Fairty, but certainly Ireland won that year. And here comes a chance to finish with a birdie, and for a round of 66. He certainly hasn't been affected by the pressure at all today. think he's probably enjoyed his Saturday afternoon, strolling through the forest. Oh, marvellous shot from Teravainen as well. So there's Howard Clark and Ronan Rafferty. Rafferty with a chance to sneak into the lead again if he makes his birdie at 18. Both men perhaps with Ryder Cup on their minds, though Howard Clark quoted as saying, "I think I'd rather take £100,000 and not have to worry about the Ryder Cup." Puts it into a little bit of perspective.
Welcome back. It's been
Of course, 2 years ago, Howard Clark was walking the fairways working for television at the Belfry.
So maybe a bit more outside right? Some of the last 3 feet in. Sure.
Howard Clark.
Yeah, it's just about 4 feet in, it's all right.
Next chance. Good score.
And at the turn, Ronan Rafferty had a 7-shot advantage over Howard Clark. Well, the start tomorrow, dead level. 67 for Rafferty, just a fraction away from being a 66. Even so, a good day's work, rounds of 65, 68 and 67. And he will share the halfway lead with Ronan Rafferty and perhaps Peter Teravainen. He has a putt to make it a 3-way tie. This would be for a 67. And he's not that often been on leaderboards. He, back in 1984, was twice a runner-up. That's about as close as he's got. And his best finish, or his biggest check this year, not a very sizable one, for tied 34th in the Deutsche Bank TPC in Hamburg, although he did play all 4 rounds last week in Austria. Opened with a 67, then fell away 74, 77, 74. So this week's performance represents significant improvement. 67 and 66, 9 under at the start of the day. It's falling 1 or 2 of them. We saw Peter Hedblom miss on that same side, so Teravainen will have to settle for a 68, and he's going to be 1 shot off the pace. He won't be too disappointed, I guarantee that. Yeah, nervous bogey at the second, but he came back well. 4 birdies and no further bogeys. Looking how the various Ryder Cup candidates fared. Well, Philip Walton had a 72, he's 3 under. Jose Rivera going well, as you know. Sam Torrance, he's not no worries. David Guilford a 71 to finish 3 under. That's one of the issues that will take up a lot of our attention tomorrow. The main issue, I think, as far as Howard Clark and Ronan Rafferty are concerned, being winners again. They start at 13 under, a lead of 1 from Peter Teravainen. Let's look down at the players that perhaps have a chance. Well, 65 from Sam Torrance might make it interesting. Raymond Burns had a 65 today. Chapman, that time he had a good final round. Maybe tomorrow will be the day. Phil Golding, 1 more good result should generate enough cash to keep his card. Important day for the man from Hertfordshire. I want to see if his 64 can be better to all match tomorrow. If not, he's got £3,000 from Johnny Walker for the new course record. Alexander Cheika, slightly disappointing. High hopes of doing so well this week and falling away today. Tristan Savard was the first out, came back with a marker and around a 69. See David Guilford and Philip Walton, a little bit on the borderline for their Ryder Cup places. They'll be looking for a good final round. Walton in 10th place, right on the mark. Guildford 6th, and there's not much less than £14,000 between them. Well, there we are, all the scores from the third round of the Chemapol Trophy Czech Open. Perfect conditions at Mariansky Lasny. And I hope you're agreeing exciting final days play in prospect. Sandy Lau was it or nothing for Sandy if he was to make the Ryder Cup side, and slipping back a little bit. And likewise Mark James, although he made the cut, finishing 1 over. So just to remind you, we're back tomorrow evening, 6 o'clock Central European time, 5 o'clock in the UK and Ireland. Enjoy your Saturday night, enjoy your round of golf tomorrow. May the putts drop for you, and I look forward to your company tomorrow. Until then, from me, Steve Beddoe. Cheerio.
The Volvo Tour was brought to you by Volvo.